Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to give you an update on my sewing and all the masks I've been making. I'm on track to make like a little over 100 masks right now, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it has actually taken up quite a bit of my time. So this quarantine doesn't really feel like a quarantine to me, or the stay at home social distancing. I feel like I'm just working a lot, but more so from home. And let me tell you, working from home is honestly not easy. I never thought it was, but it's definitely not easy, like just because you get up and you're at work, like especially and all you parents out there know if you have a child. Anyway, so what I'm going to do today is a sew with me video. As many of you know, I'm still trying to figure out my footing in the YouTube space and what I want to create. I've been uploading sporadically for several years now, but haven't exactly found my niche. So bear with me. Please follow me on this journey. And we'll get started. Okay, so I've been making the masks. I'm not really going to do a tutorial because there's like about 1,000 of those online, okay? But I'll just show you real quick. So basically I start off with strips of fabric. They're like this, right? Just 6x9, any fabric, like printed, fun, you know? Then I pin them together. So these are pinned, and we're using elastic for these ones. So much faster than the ties. But I'm about to run out of elastic, so I think for some of my orders I'm gonna have to use the ties. So basically I do like a process where I do a bunch of the same things at one time. So like I pin like say 10, and then I sew those 10. And I have like 3 that I needed to sew from a batch. So once they're all sewn, they look like this. You probably won't be able to see it, but they look like this. And I clip the edges. So when I'm sewing, I don't really worry about getting stuff on the floor because you'll just like literally drive yourself so crazy. So if I'm working on a project that's going to be a couple days, I clean up like all my scraps and stuff usually when I'm done. Who knows when I'm going to be done with this. But I'm not going to lie, I like panicked a little bit whenever this pandemic started to really feel real, and I got the phone call that I didn't have a job for, you know, who knows how long. So there was like a couple days where I really freaked out. I've had my home now for 10 years in May, and I'm very proud of that. And the idea of possibly losing something that you worked so hard for is very scary. And I know I'm not the only one. But, I panicked for a little bit. I almost went and got my property and casualty insurance license because I was offered a job, kind of, by my new insurance agent. But something was just telling me, don't go do that right now because it's a couple $100 to get the course and take the test. And I just didn't feel comfortable spending the money on that. So I just like waited. I'm like, all right, don't make a rash decision right now and spend money you don't have. And then I started probably a week after we had the stay-at-home order. So a week after that, I saw online that there was a mask shortage. I was like, oh, okay. Well, this is something I can totally do at home, feel useful, not freak out, and like keep myself busy. Y'all, ever since I posted my first video, I have not stopped making masks. And I couldn't be more grateful and appreciative of that and for the people who have reached out. Sorry, my camera's going to shake a little bit because it's on my sewing table. So I'm just so appreciative to be able to be doing something when so many people are not. Okay, so I clipped all my edges, corners, and then you just like flip them inside out, right? So flip them all inside out, or well, it would be right side out because they're technically inside out when you sew them. And you have this, voila. So I went on my Instagram story and did a poll and said, ask me anything. I'll talk about it in my channel or on my new video. And only one person really has said anything. So I'm hoping that changes soon. If I continue to like put out regular content, maybe people will want to participate. That way I'm not just talking to myself all the time. But Soup, if y'all know Soup, which if you're from Erie and you watch this and you're my friend, you know Soup, said make me an effing bandana mask. So yeah, there it is. Soup asked me to make him a bandana mask. And then I had like a couple random chicks that I think are in MLMs. Check out my profile, follow me. No thanks, sorry girl, but no thanks. So usually when I'm doing this, I just binge listen to YouTube. So I figured, why not try and do something a little different and talk to myself? Well, y'all. So another thing, today I have a doctor's appointment. And it's bittersweet because I'm about to find out if I'm having a boy or a girl. But I have to go by myself because no one can go in with me. So my boyfriend's not allowed to go, basically. So it kind of sucks, but whatever. It's going to be exciting to finally figure out what I'm having, what we're having, whether or not my son's going to have a brother or sister. I kind of want another boy just for the convenience. Like, I already have a bunch of boy clothes. I know that's like a weird reason to like want a boy, but honestly, it just doesn't really matter. I just hope my baby's healthy and we get through this pandemic. I hope the pandemic is like kind of past and we're like back to some kind of normal by the time I give birth, because like, it freaks me out thinking about all this still going on. It really does. Like, I try not to, because then I get like, I don't know, panicky and stressed, and you're not supposed to do that when you're pregnant, right? You're supposed to not stress, because stressing is bad for the fetus. I mean, it's bad for all of us to stress. No one should stress. Yeah, right. It's whatever. All right, so these are all flipped inside out. Mind you, this process would probably go much faster if I was 100% focused on doing this, which I should be. But I just needed a little change up in my day because I've been doing so many of these that I just like, I need a little something different. Hold on one second. I'm gonna see if I can put this camera somewhere else, because like once I start ironing, this is just gonna annoy. Okay, I'm back further away. Hopefully this works out. Another reason why this is such a pain is the little tripod that I got with like a ring light. I broke it. So the one of the 3 legs is broken. So it's propped up right now. All right, so I filled my iron with water so it's nice and steamy. So a big thing in sewing is pressing everything. It's so important. Haha, so important. Oh my God. So I like I can be funny sometimes, but I can also be like super corny. So don't mind the corny, laugh at myself jokes. It'll happen quite frequently, because that's just who I am. So you go through and you press these all. Yeah, that's about it for that part. You just press. I always wanted to have my own store where everything in it was either like made by myself and then also other local artists, which now in Erie, that is definitely like a thing that is happening. So that's awesome. But I wanted it to be like a lofty, wide open space where my sewing area would be visible to people shopping, so they could truly get like an understanding of what goes into making something. A lot of people, you know, they'll go shopping and they don't really think about what goes into the garment. They don't think about what goes into the product. They don't understand like how much time it takes to do some of this stuff, because we're all so used to like the fast fashion and like all these big factories and other places producing our stuff for us. But guess what? Like, you know, those people work really hard. This is not easy work. And what I mean by that is like, look at how you've probably been noticing how I'm standing. So when I'm cutting, I'm looking down. I'm measuring out my fabric, cutting. I use a rotary tool, this little thing right here. I'm looking down, right? Then, now we iron. I'm ironing. I'm looking down, okay? Constantly looking down. And you'll see here in a minute what I do next. Again, I will be looking down. Most of the time that I am doing this, I'm looking down. So my neck and traps and upper back, kill me at the end of a day of sewing. Kill me. It's really, really hurts. So, you know, just think about that the next time. You know, some people don't see the value or the beauty in things that are made, and because they're just so used to buying stuff so cheap and everything being produced in a factory setting, which even those factory settings, like, I mean, trust me, it's not easy. And it is definitely not me complaining, because I love doing this. So before all of this ever happened, my biggest dream would be to be able to work pretty much by myself. As many of you know, I work in the service industry, and I've been doing it for so long that it just kind of like I don't want to say it comes natural, but it's kind of like, I'm just so used to it. I've been working in a restaurant or a bar since I was 18. So it's like my career, it ended up being my career path, I guess you could say, right? But it's getting to the point, because I've been doing it for so long, I am actually drained of it. I'm getting tired. People, as you know, are not always so nice, and I'm really hoping that on the other side of this pandemic, maybe people will become more kind. That's my biggest hope for all of this, that people come out on the other side better people and are more kind to each other. You know, but working in a restaurant, in a bar setting, you know, especially if it's mostly like drinks, like, people are not always their best selves when there's alcohol involved, or when people only have an hour for lunch, they're not always their nicest self. They're in a rush, but they forget, like, so is everybody else. So, and usually lunch staff is a little bit lighter because lunch isn't as busy. You get that pop for that lunch hour, and then it's kind of like a lull. So you can't staff like dinner. No one would make any money. So there's that. No one would ever agree to work if a lunch shift was like overstaffed, you know? So anyway, my whole point with that rambling is I just would love to like work solo. And I have been working solo, and let me tell you, it's definitely for me. All right, so I finished pressing all this stuff. Now I'm gonna pin it to make the pleats. So, gotta grab my pins, which they're back here. And let me tell you, it gets hot doing this because the freaking iron is so hot. So I'm gonna pin And I'm probably going to take this time to speed up. So like I'm not going to be like talking about anything while I'm pinning, because I'm just going to fast forward through this part in the video. Because I really don't want this to be a crazy long video. Actually, I'm not even going to record it. I'm going to stop and cut, and then I'll see you back here in a second. All right, so I have everything pinned, and this is what it looks like. I am going to go ahead and sew just one for you, so you can like see me sew. It's really exciting. I'm actually pretty good at it. I'm just kidding. No, I am good at it. I'm just kidding for being a weirdo. Because I'm actually more weird than people think. Alright. I love this sewing machine, by the way. Oh my gosh. It's a Pfaff. P-F-A-F-F. It does so much more than I actually utilize it for. There's so many different stitches. So many different, like, this is a presser foot right here. There's several of those. I can embroider on this machine. Not like crazy, but I can definitely do like initials. And they have a feature where you can design your own stitch, which is pretty cool. I just haven't really taken the time to utilize the features, which for how expensive this thing was, I really should. I've done more sewing in the past 2 weeks than I think I've done in the past 2 years. So I used to work at a brewery, right? I worked there for like 7 years. And I quit because I wanted to sew. And that was back in 2014. And I wish I would have, you know, like pursued that more than I did. I mean, it's never too late, right? So you stitch all the way around because you want to stitch the pleats, right? You need to close the hole that you left to flip your fabric right side. And I do a double stitch around just to make sure it's like sturdier and it looks really nice. But I figured out a new technique yesterday that I really like. So usually after I do my first stitch around, I immediately go to the second stitch. But I decided not to do that anymore. So basically what I am going to do is press this first, because again, like I said, pressing is like everything in sewing. So I'll press it. That way all the pleats are nice and flat, especially on the edges, because it gets kind of bulky where the pleats are. And then I'll go around and do my second top stitch. It just, I don't know, I like that better. It might take a little extra time, but it works for me. All right. So I'm going to go through and do one more because I really don't know how this is going to sound over this. And like I said, I don't want the video to be super, super long. So I really just like don't really feel like you need or care to watch me sew, you know, 10 of these, right? I mean, if you do, just let me know. I got plenty coming. just dropped a pin. Not that big of a deal, except I don't want my son to get a hold of it. So my son is 19 months now, right? Yeah. 18, 19. And he is pretty awesome. Sorry, I can usually multitask, but apparently I have a hard time talking and sewing. And I think because this is the part that I really want to make sure looks perfect. So I'm not as good at multitasking here. So I'm going to sound like an idiot. That's cool. Alright, so I'm gonna spare you a bunch of time and I'm going to see you when I'm all done with these. Now that I got my first stitches top stitched on the masks, I'm basically just gonna press. So while I'm doing this, as I mentioned, I've been pretty busy with sewing these masks since I originally posted about it, which I believe was like 2 weeks ago, going on 3 maybe. And since then, you know, of course I've had people reach out to me personally for their families and whatnot, which again, so grateful and thankful for. I can't even thank you all enough. Everybody who's ordered masks from me, I just really am very thankful. But then my place of work called me yesterday and asked how many masks I could make a day, because the company I work for wants to supply all the employees with masks. Now, I don't know if it's a job I'm going to get, because they want to do it nationwide apparently, which is a lot of properties. So I don't know if I'll get that, but I'm hopeful that I will get maybe our 2 local properties. And even if I don't, that's also okay. I'm just happy for the consideration, the phone calls, the experience of just sewing more. It's been very cathartic during this time, I'll tell you that much. My friend Katie, she ended up getting a pretty decent size sewing jobs for masks for a local company. So when she gets in her material, I will be helping her as well. And then Iron Empire actually reached out to me about partnering with them to sew some Iron Empire masks. So we're still talking about that, and I may be doing that as well. So it's very nice that I will be busy, hopefully, you know, until I go back to work. It's not necessarily about the money. Obviously, it's nice to bring in some extra income while I am not working. And also, as you all know, unemployment's taking forever. I'm very grateful for that. I'm very appreciative, but I'm just as grateful to have a sense of normalcy, to be doing something during this time and not just sitting at home. Yes, there were things I could do if I wasn't working, but they would have been done by now. 100%. I got lots of projects though I'm still hoping to get to. And if I don't, I'm not gonna worry about it too much. Too much at all. So yeah, I'm just pressing these. There was 7 total that I top stitched, and then 3 that I had to sew all the way around and turn inside out. I just could not sew one more stitch last night. Usually by the end of the day, after I make 20, I'm kind of spent at that point, but I can do some prep work and then I just sew in the morning. But so what I'm going to do is finish up these last 3, pin them, top stitch all of these items, and then I will see you back here for my goodbye. All right, so I'm all done with this order. It was originally an order of 20, but I did 10 earlier this week and then promised the other half today. So what I do is I fold them all up really nice and I put them in a bag, and then I type up a note because my handwriting is awful and put it in for them. Some orders I will drop off and deliver for people, and some it's just easier if they pick it up and I leave it in my mailbox for them. One thing I didn't get to tell you was my aunt contacted me about a mask, and she's a nurse, so she has like some ideas and prototype for maybe something that could be better than what's out there, or even what I'm making. I'm just following a pretty standard tutorial that I have found. So that's exciting. And I wanted to let you know that in my next video, I'm going to do my gender reveal, which I didn't do with my first son. I didn't do a gender reveal, but I'm going to this time. Like, why not? There's a lot I didn't do the first time around with my first pregnancy, and it's not that I regret it. It's just different things were going on in my life at that time, so I just didn't really have the time to do it or really think about it, if that makes sense. I'll go into more detail maybe later, on a later date with that. So please leave a comment or a question or suggestion or something. I would love to make this more interactive, and I can speak on that on the next video, which, like I said, is going to include my gender reveal. So I'm going to post it very soon because I'm finding out what we're having today. Thank you for watching this whole entire thing, and I really appreciate it. And if you like it, like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. I feel so weird asking people to do that, but that's like a normal thing apparently. So I'm gonna be real awkward about it for a few videos. So stay safe, stay sane, stay home if you can, and I'll see y'all in the next one.